Sir Connor.
Okay, 2 for 2.
Hey guys, yeah, they got Dak. Isaiah Johnson will go ahead and open up the question.
Bang got at practice this week. Tad talked a few times about how this game was going to be kind of a challenge for the front court. You had 10 rebounds, Alone had 10 rebounds. Do you feel like you guys came through with that challenge tonight?
Personally, I don't think so. I feel like we could have done a better job, a way better job. But you know, down the stretch, we've ended up getting our job done. But you know, playing against good players is gonna be tough. You know, to take them out their spots, take them out their game. But we just got it done when it mattered. So we did a good job.
Isaiah, you got things going in the second half. Kind of talk to me specifically about how you entered that flow state, but what did it kind of feel like tonight?
I knew coming into the second half that I had to be better and pick up my energy. And I think having good energy on the bench just helped me be able to go into the game and, you know, get into that flow.
Bang got
Both of you, sorry. One of the issues was inbounding a little bit towards that second half. Kind of what was the miscommunication, I guess, or struggles with that? You know, really hard.
It's just not being physical enough, I feel like, and just seeing eye to eye with the inbounder at the moment. But that's stuff we work on, so we gotta just execute that type of stuff.
for either of you guys, or maybe both of you guys could answer this, but how tough was it, just the environment out there and not having fans, obviously an adjustment? How did you guys kind of go about maybe having to create your own energy?
You know, it was pretty tough, I would say, not having the fans there, the students there, but our bench, the guys, redshirt guys, the guys that didn't play, they did a great job coming with energy. Our families were there, so, you know, they did a great job as well in the stands, creating that environment for us. So, you know, we just got to pursue through tough things, and we did that tonight.
I guess for Isaiah, I know you weren't really matched up with Henderson, but looking at a backcourt player, what was he doing to be so effective on the offensive end as a driver?
He definitely uses his body well. He's pretty fast. He got a lot of speed. So, you know, those things together, he was in a lot of ball screens as well. He was just a phenomenal player getting downhill.
I guess for the both of you, you guys forced 10 turnovers in the second half, I believe it was. You picked up the press. It seems that, you know, this team, Portland State, entered this game averaging a lot of turnovers, and they only played 7 guys. Was that the big thing that forced you guys to enter the press, or was it just something else?
Yeah, I think so. Our coach was telling us we got more depth in them. We got to wear them down. And, you know, playing at altitude, that's something he always talks about. But we just knew that with them having one key ball handler and not that many guys that they play off their bench, we got to pressure them and pick them up. So that helped us in the second half.
Bang up for looking forward a little bit. You guys have you know, quick road trip and game with Stanford in Phoenix. I think you get a couple days off after that. You know, what's the keys for this team? I think you're flying tomorrow. What's the keys for this team? Kind of focus, zeroing in, and making sure you kind of finish strong before a little bit of a break.
I think just for us, we just got to focus on getting better first off, and then just buying in defensively. I feel like once we get all 5 guys to do that consistently, we're going to see a bigger jump in this team. But until then, it's going to be these struggle games, I feel like, where we're going to have to, like, grind it out. But besides that, I feel like we're coming along. I feel like we're going to figure it out.
VD, usually you guys are, I don't know, build a big run in the second half or something like that to kind of separate, but tonight neither team went on a run bigger than 10 points. What was it like to play more of a consistent game and kind of grind it out like you said?
No, it just kind of felt repetitive, just saying the same stuff to kind of get us that lead, the same thing over and over until we execute it. But just playing in a game like this is kind of going to, I feel like, prepare us in those situations when, in the future, for when we have close games like this. We know what it's going to take to win and grind it out and get it stops, but it's just going to be a matter of all 5 guys are willing to do it and buy in.
Isaiah, lately you've maybe not had the same looks from the arc. The defense is kind of coming out on you, but you've really turned around and kind of become more of a playmaker. Another 3 assists and no turnovers tonight. You've had a run of like 4 or 5 games like that. Is that maybe something you've adjusted to with defenses? You know, defenses are adjusting to you and your 3-point shot. Is this kind of you countering and finding other ways to help the team if they're going to be taking away the 3-pointer?
I wouldn't say it's like countering. You know, as far as the 3-point shots, I just got to make them. I'm getting good looks. They're just not going in. But, you know, I'm also just trying to make my teammates better. Yeah, most of the guys are running out to me fast, so, you know, I'm able to just get downhill and use my speed, which is what I'm really good at, so I can set my teammates up for open shots.
You guys were out with Elijah Malone didn't play a lot tonight due to his injury. What you guys kind of see defensively without him on the court, and how do you feel you kind of have to step up in your role when he's gone?
Defensive rebounding for sure. We got to step it up there when Elijah's not on the court. And then, you know, just having that big presence down there when, you know, guys are driving down the lane, someone to step up into a big body where he can kind of guard 2 players at once. I feel like we're missing that a little bit with some bigger wings getting downhill off a quick swing to the corner and a quick drive. But other than that, I just feel like other guys got to step up when he can't play or when he can't give us as many minutes or not playing his best. But, yeah.
Anything else?
Sweet.
Thank you. The rest of it, just get to the
Thank you.
Doing great. How are you? Attendance is 101.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that.
They told us 111, but I don't know how we would be able to count.
Trying to
this
damage his
all.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea, maybe it was. It would, maybe
As
it's
a parent,
someone
it's
just
just
like
good to keep
who
track of.
around counting, but I have no idea.
I'm sure that's what they do every game, count each fan individually.
This, bro, that's great. Leave that up.
It could be, right? Because, I mean, they might have just had someone.
Don't you work there? Well, you bet. Is it still raining? Why you in a rush to go back home to an apartment with no power?
I'm going to my friend who does have power. Just improved it.
That's Eric's dumping.
Great. I didn't know that.
It's all right.
I parked outside. He said it was working.
Oh.
Told me it was gonna rain.
Forecast, man. You didn't see the clouds when you drove up to the building?
It was dark out when I got here.
Exactly, it was dark clouds.
It was dark outside.
Coach must be having a great time in the radio show. Good job.
I don't see him. He's not. He just stood up.
That's a good call right there.
I saw him stand up. There we go.
Oh, no, in the locker room. Nope. It's a fraud.
Where's he, George?
What's that?
All right.
Hey guys, Ben and Coach Tad Boyle. Coach, you can start with an opening statement.
Yep.
Questions.
Well, kind of a weird night tonight for the Buffaloes. Took me back to a few years ago when we played in this building every night like that. So, except there weren't even as many fans as there were there tonight. There was basically just, some employees and family, friends. So anyway, it was a good win in a very unique environment, more like a scrimmage than it was a basketball game. And but we beat a good team, and that's a good basketball team we beat. So you got to take that and be proud of it and move on. And we finally got some stops strung together there down the stretch, and that allowed us to get it from 2 or 3 points to 8 or 10, and then we held them off from there.
In the second half, you come out in a press and force
Yep.
a bunch of turnovers. They're a turnover-prone team entering this game, but they
Yep.
also lack the depth. How big were those two things?
Yeah, the whole key was in the first half we were man-to-man full court, trying to wear them down. They were sucking air in the first half. Altitude is real, man. I'm telling you. Number 5 is a good of an athlete as I've coached against in a long, long time, and he was cramping up at the end because he never got out of the game. The depth of our team was an advantage relative to the depth of Portland State, and so the way you try to take advantage of that is wear them down with that. And we weren't trapping in the first half. We were just kind of trying to wear them down. The second half, defense is in front of our bench there on the press, and we were able to generate a couple steals and kind of get that thing turned. And that's where we missed our crowd. Our crowd could have maybe got into it a little bit. We could have maybe capitalized on that, but that wasn't the case tonight. So, yeah, second half we trapped more out of our press and then went back to, but just wearing them down because that was the difference in the game, I thought.
Ted, are you kind of challenging some of your front court guys this week about the matchups against their good rebounding?
Absolutely, yeah.
You had 2 guys with 10 rebounds.
Yep.
They had 9 offensive rebounds, which is kind of under their average.
Yeah, still too many.
So do you feel like you did the job?
Nah, I mean, 4 of those 9 were team rebounds, which means we got our stop. The ball didn't go in the basket, and it came off, and, we don't have two-handed rebounds. We got to get two-handed rebounds and finish possessions. Again, it cost us a game in Fort Collins a week and a half ago or whatever it was, but and it could have tonight. There's areas that this team has to get better at, and defensive rebounding is one of them. Because again, teams are averaging almost 10 a game, and they got 9 tonight. 6 is our number. There's going to be long rebounds. We're not going to, it's not going to be 0, but it's got to be 6 or less, and we're not there yet. And I'm not going to quit emphasizing it and talking about it and working on it until we do get there.
One of those front court guys, Elijah, kind of saw him with a...
Yeah, Elijah hurt his shoulder yesterday in practice, which, he's got unbelievable toughness. Most kids wouldn't have even tried to play tonight, but Elijah did because he cares so much, and he's got unbelievable toughness. So, yeah, saw him go for that rebound in the second half. He didn't quite get it. I saw him kind of working his shoulder. It's like, we're going to need him on Saturday against Stanford. We're going to need him, obviously, in Big 12 play. So, he'll adjust to that brace. McKinley went through it. He played through it. Elijah will too. It's unfortunate, but just, it's part of the game. But I got so much respect for him and just giving it a shot because, there were people telling him, wait till Saturday and you'll be okay then, type it. Kid showed some gumption tonight.
Coach, you guys had a little bit of struggles with turnovers tonight. And
yeah.
On some of those inbound
3 of them on OB under.
Correct.
One of the things we talked about tonight, and we don't normally do it, but Portland State is a physical team. They're an aggressive defensive team. And we talked about playing with toughness on offense. And you talk about lack of toughness. When you can't get the ball in bounds with one guy guarding you. It's not like they had 2 guys on one guy. Oh, well, Coach, I got 2 defenders. You got 1 defender. You got 1 defender on you can't get open, you ain't very tough. And we had 3 turnovers. Can't happen. Can't happen. So lots of areas for us to get better. Tonight that was one of them. And 3 of those turnovers, what'd we end up with turnovers? 12? Yeah, 3 of those were OB under. We take care of those. We're at our 9. First time we've been over 11 all year. But we had to play tough with toughness on offense, which means you got to cut tough, you got to screen tough, you got to play tough. Because other teams, guess what? We play. That was a Big 12 physicality game tonight. That was a Big 12. They had some Big 12 post guys. They had a Big 12 athletic guard. They're a good team. They're going to win a lot of games in the Big Sky. I'm going to tell you that. They're good.
Ted, how involved were you in whatever discussions were happening today, obviously with the game situation?
Rick George and Jason DePape, who are, probably our lead administrators on these kind of decisions, they kept me in the loop, which I appreciated. I met with them yesterday, talked to them today. In terms of input, very little. I would have liked to let people who wanted to brave the wind but I think there's bigger things involved, when you talk about law enforcement and crowd control and that sort of thing. So I understand the decision, but it's unfortunate. But that's why I tell our guys all the time. That's why we do those scrimmages. We had a close scrimmage with Marquette. We had some more people here this year than we have in years past because they're not really closed anymore. But so we've been in that environment, before. None of these guys were in college when COVID was around. But I talked to them before the game, and our guys were ready. So they had to create their own energy tonight. We didn't, I'd like to petition the NCAA saying this is a neutral court, but I doubt if I'll win that. But it might help our net ranking.
Coach, can you expound a little bit on how the guys created their own energy and just they've kind of got that trait this year? This young group.
Yeah. It's funny, when I was going through we talked about it, when we first met. I meet with our team twice before the game. One, to kind of go over the game plan, and then the last one is to go through matchups. And when I was going through the matchups tonight, like they were into it. Like they were visibly like energetic, which they've never been before. So again, shows some leadership. It shows some caring factor. One thing about this team, they're competitive. They want to win. They're not afraid of anything or anybody, but they're just areas we got to get better at. But yeah, without our fans, this is a really good win, because this could have gone the other way if we're not ready and we're not energetic. So kudos to our players for that.
Along with that, Isaiah mentioned the redshirt guys and the guys who didn't play who helped bring that energy. What did
Absolutely.
you see from them?
Yeah, no question. Our bench was into it. You know, again, you look at guys like Andrew Crawford, Ian Inman, and Taco, who played last game against UT San Antonio. They didn't play again tonight, but they weren't pouting. They were into it. They were helping. They were encouraging. Obviously, Leo and John, our two red shirts, were into it. They were helpful. Our managers were great. Our staff was great. So, you know, that's what you expect. You expect them to be into it. You expect the energy. You expect playing with you know, great effort, great attitude. You know, we talk all the time about controlling what you can control. We had no control over the decision of the fans being here and not being here. So we did have control over our attitude, our energy level, our toughness, and our guys answered the bell. And so hopefully this will be the last of that. But because we need our fans. This is, you know, we got Northern Colorado one more home game after Christmas before we start Big 12 play. We got 9 absolute. And to be successful in the Big 12 or any conference, you have to win at home, and our crowd is a big part of that. It is a participant sport, not a spectator sport in college basketball. So our crowd is really, really important to our home court advantage. And then you got to figure out how to win on the road, you know, and steal 1 or 2 here or there. But if you can win your home games and steal a few on the road, you're going to finish in the upper half of this league, and that's going to put you in a pretty good position as we head down the stretch. But got a couple more weeks for that.
And looking at the rest of this week, I know you still got one more home non-conference on
Yes.
Christmas that you just alluded to, but that last game before Christmas always seems like one sort of finish line. What does this team have to do to kind of maybe stay focused and finish the job on Saturday before they get a few days off?
Well, look, these guys are all traveling home from Phoenix. So, you know, it starts with when they're packing their bags tonight, you know, or early tomorrow morning. We're going to go about 10:30 tomorrow, so they'll, you know, be able to sleep in a little bit and get packed. But it's our job as coaches to make sure that they are dialed in to that game in Phoenix on Saturday night. And I don't worry about this team when it comes to that. I really don't. I don't feel like we've had a game this year where we came out and we were emotionally flat. Now, we've come out and not played well. You know, that happened the first couple games. It happened against the first half against UTSA. But in terms of not being ready to play emotionally and dialed into the game plan, I've got a lot of confidence in this team, especially for as young as we are. And you'll never hear me talk about our youth after a loss. I might talk about it after a win, but we are a young team. Everybody knows that. But to be in a position that we're in right now, and you know, you don't get opportunities back. We'd love to have that opportunity in Fort Collins back, but it doesn't work like that. So you got to live with that and move on and learn from it. And we got to learn from tonight and keep getting better.
Going back to following the game plan, Terry Miller Jr., he's a all-conference type of guy, and he averages 4 assists, and he seemed like that was something to highlight, to take away his passing ability.
Yes.
He has 1 assist, 6 turnovers tonight. How big was that?
Huge, because if you overhelp on him, he's going to make you pay. And then you give up threes. So, again, I thought we did a pretty good job. You know, they made 5 threes tonight. 6 or under is our number. And the reason that they only made 5 threes is because we did a good job on Miller. Now, he's the most unique player that I've coached against in a long time, in that he's coming into the game, he's shooting 45% from 3. We know he's a capable 3-point shooter. He hits 1 on BD, and then he hits 1 on Elijah. It's like you can't let him get those off. You've got to make that kid drive it to his right hand. And I'm not saying he can't make plays going to his right, but if you let him catch and shoot, he's going to make it. And he did the first 2, which really pissed me off. And then, secondly, you can't let him go left. He goes left, he's going to finish. That jump hook he made on alone from the Big 12 logo in the second half, like, that's like a layup for that kid. He is really – then we make him turn and go right and go baseline. What does he do? he turns it over, we get a bucket in transition. Like, just do what you're supposed to do. But Miller is a hell of a player. He's a good passer. They play through him. He can score it. He can pass it. He can shoot it. You know, he's a good player. And, you know, number 4, Minot, their big guy, he's a good player. Number 5, holy cow, you talk about extra gear. That kid is as athletic as anybody will play against all season. You know, so you got to understand, like, everybody's got good players, and Portland State's no exception. And they're going to win a lot of games in the Big Sky, in my opinion. We'll see how that all transpires, but they're a good team.